So, Sean, today's word of the day is Tuatha.
The little sister Tuatha?
Well, I've talked about this on past episodes during the novels, but yeah, Tuatha is also known as Tuatha de Danann, which are a supernatural race in Irish mythology, and they're kind of like idolized humans who are immune from aging and sickness and who have powers of magic. Their name means tribe of the gods, and many of them are thought to represent deities of pre-Christian Gaelic Ireland.
Wow. Tuatha.
Yeah, so
Tuatha.
that's probably what inspired Tuatha, in a sense, you know.
Yeah.
You haven't even read that?
Wait, what are you doing with the book?
So he has the confidence to finish the story.
Hear now the words of the witches.
This is Kevin, and welcome to Words of the Witches, the Charmed podcast that will guide you through the lesser-known published material in the Charmed universe and decide how it fits into the grand narrative of the TV series.
All right. Well, welcome to Words of the Witches, episode 90. Ooh, we're in the 90s.
Oh, just
I'm
like the
Kevin.
show was.
Just like the show was, you're right. And I'm Kevin, your resident Charmed resource.
I'm Sean, and I just love comic books.
Oh, and guess who is returning to the podcast? It's Galen. Hi.
Hello. Oh, now you're freezing up. Right when I get introduced, everything freezes up for a second.
You're using your Piper powers. That's all it is, you know?
That's what it is.
Oh.
That's what it is. The magic is manifesting.
You were on a bonus episode we did of just Charmed iconography before this, but now you get to cover, like, bonus story content. We're in the comics.
Like the story. Yes. I'm very glad, too, because I didn't realize the story was going to be quite that good. And so I was in it to win it. I was like, okay, once school kind of calms down, I'm going to have to go back and, like, read them.
Mm-hmm. And you are quite the TikToker, the YouTuber of Charmed content with your Ratchet Charmed and your.
Thank you.
I love your stuff. I really hope you do some of your amazing Charmed impressions of the sisters this episode, this issue.
We'll see. I'm not gonna say yes, and I'm not gonna say no. I'm gonna say
we'll see if it comes out. We'll see if it comes out because it cracked me up though. You cracked me up.
Because my Prue is like, I get so embarrassed doing it for some reason because I would make her sound like Batman, and I don't know why, but like a specific version of Batman, like Christian Bale Batman, like standing on the rooftop, looking down. Anyway, sorry.
Shannon has that raspiness though. You got it. It's like a cartoon fun impression. I love it. It's so perfect.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, and you know the show very well. What is your experience with the comics?
The comics, I actually started trying to read them sometime last year. And it's not that the story wasn't interesting. I just didn't get a chance because I went back to school, and so that started, and I just couldn't like make time to kind of do it. But reading this like, because I read the Four Sisters Part 1, and then I read Part 2. And so it's like reading this makes me actually want to go back and see what got us to this point, because it was I got very invested very quickly.
Yeah, season 9 gets great setup, and the season 10 just follows through it in such a great way. So yeah, read it, and maybe along with this podcast, you can go back and listen to the comic episodes of this podcast, and you know, it'll be really fun. So, but yeah, you're in it now. But before we get into this issue, I got some stuffs. I have some poll results from last week. Sean, do you remember what the poll question was?
I don't, Kevin.
Because you never do.
Because I never do.
I don't know. Keep asking. I don't know. I'm like, Sean doesn't remember. I should just get into it, but it's fine. It was, what demon should Tyler into next? Because we've seen him as Shax, we've seen him as Barbas, we've seen him as Zanku, we've seen him as all these. We saw in the vision that he was these other demons, and you said, who did you say? I forget.
I imagine I probably said Tuatha, but I don't remember.
I don't think you did.
Okay,
But-
fine. I was trying to give myself credit. I hate you.
I know I said the Woogie Man. Oh, you said Gamel. That's what you said.
Oh, I did. Damn it, Sean.
I don't know what Galen would have chosen. Is there anything other than Tuatha that you would have liked to see?
I wasn't expecting this question.
I know, surprised you.
If I could pick in the Demon of Illusion, I would want to see the Demon of Illusion come back.
Good
If
one.
nothing else, just for his little ponytail. But
Yeah.
because I feel like he had, I feel like within the realm of the show, like his power was so, just the fact that he could move through, I want to say realities. I guess you could call the movie another reality. Like that was just so interesting. So I would love to see him make a return.
He's such a cool demon. I mean, have him come back. Ooh, and to see what he would do in the comics. Yeah, I like that one a lot.
Mm-hmm. And then they reference him like twice more over the course of because Cole kind of uses his trick in season 3, and then they reference him again in season 5, and it's like
sympathy for the demon. Yeah,
a setup, but it's neither here nor there.
Ooh, and he was angry. Ooh. He's like, how about bitch? Like, oh my god, okay.
And what I love about him, like his stint on the show, is that's back before demons could like teleport. And so, like after Prue flings him into the clock, he runs out of the house.
Out the door.
And I'm like, okay. Yeah, demons running out of the house. Let's simmer down.
Well, let's see what we got. A few responses, not very many, but we got a few. Yanni Histrophos says Shax. Obviously, he's not listening to this podcast because then he would know that Shax already appeared, but whatever.
So, real quick, I wanted to add this in, and this is the perfect opportunity. I was so excited. I just learned this today.
What?
So, I've been watching Good Omens Part 2, which came out last Friday, which is an amazing show, an amazing book, and Miranda Richardson's in it, and her character's named Shax. So it's like fucking odds that they would name her Shax. So I looked it up. He's an actual demon. He's an actual demon.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Well, they had, I don't know if you know this too, Robert Masello was a resident demonologist who worked on Charmed. So he knew all that stuff and he brought it to the series.
Oh.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Watch the Women of Charmed documentary that they first made in season 2, and he's on there. They also redid the Women of Charmed documentary in season 5. So there's 2 different versions of the Women of Charmed, but yeah.
Well, at this point, I'd like to real quick just thank Galen for feigning interest and not being a know-it-all like Kevin. I'm just kidding.
And just being like, I already knew that, but thank you for providing it. I appreciate it.
So let's get on to see what other people said. We have a few more. Serox 1987000, our friend Jay Wong, he says Tempest. So, I mean, all hell breaks loose. He's mentioned but never seen, so that would be cool to see his face again.
And they're saying that his power was just there, but it was weakened. And I'm like, so does the source can channel demons' powers now? What do we? But anyway, sorry.
Curious, sir. Then we got Hayden MDP7 says the demon that terrorized Billy's memory had a pretty cool design for a late series demon. So I think he's talking about the Dogen. His little.
The one with the mask.
The one with the mask, yeah. That fell off when he was
one with that Dollar General mask. And then it fell off when it. Oh. Okay. All right.
He had those little beautiful nails too. Ooh.
They put more effort into the little imp man, the one that could make the things come
Imp
out.
Master.
And,
yeah,
him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Stephen Eifler, our friend Stephen, says Brad Kern. Yeah, we're not gonna go there, but he went there, so there we go. Fun. And then Aaron, the Orange Double A, says this is probably where we get Tuatha. I'd be surprised if she's not in the next 2 issues.
Wow. So he caught on.
He caught on. Speaking of Aaron, what a perfect segue. you know how last issue we talked about the encantadas and we kind of sang their stuff really awkwardly. Like I was so embarrassed. I'm like, this is horrible melodies that I'm coming up with, but it's just whatever came to my head at the moment. So I'm like, this is ugly. But but he decided to write some music for it. And I'm going to play that for you right now.
Oh my God.
I was so excited.
I know, I'm just...
I can barely hear you over this noise. Didn't you die when you were young? Explain to me how you're such a grandpa. So these, enchantos? Encantadas. Whatever. They can take us back? They'll take us where you want to go, alright? But you owe me a big one, buddy boy. I'm cashing in on a huge favor here. Why are you helping me anyway? You asked. You can do whatever you want now, but here you are, tangled up in all this mess. Why? They are ready for you. Thank you. It's been too long, Kyra. You're all new. Your heart, it sings. Hey girl, your soul fits you well. And you totally lost weight. Did you end up going to that hot yoga class I was talking about? To die for. And speaking of dying, speaking of souls, there certainly doesn't belong there. Who did this to you? What do you mean? It takes great power to rebuild a body, greater power yet to bond it to a soul, power that could have easily put that soul where it belongs. And yet the Father walks in the sun's shadow. Why would she cause you pain she could have quelled? And we begin disappear.
Wasn't that great?
Yeah.
Everybody's so creative.
Yeah, and segue, Aaron, is writing the music for my Charmed musical that we're coming up with for the podcast. And we've got some great songs. So that's a great segue to announce that on the 9th of August, we will be doing a live to talk about the musical project. And we're going to play some songs from the musical and answer questions. And so look for that August 9th. I think we're doing it at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. Yeah. So be prepared. Get your questions ready. We're going to talk about it. I'm so excited. So, okay. Silence! Let's get on with this comic book. So this is Season 10, Issue 15, The Four Sisters, Part 2. And it was published January 13th, 2016. So this is the first issue of 2016. Written by Pat Shand, artwork by Eliza Feliz, colors by Valentina Cuomo, letters by Christy Sawyer, edited by Pat Shand, and cover by David Seidman. How do we feel about this cover?
I love that cover, actually. It was so very, it's interesting because it kind of pulls you in and makes you want to see what they're about to do, what's about to happen. Why are my girls shattered? Or why are my girls this far apart in the first place? Because, usually when you see images of them together, they're stacked kind of, they're either close together or there's one image and then this one, and they're kind of overlapping. But here it's they're separate and then they start. So it was very interesting artwork.
Yeah, it gives a lot without, it's a simple image, but it says a lot because it tells me time is running out. The sisters are broken and separated. There's coming to the end. This is a really cool cover. I like it.
The Paige and Prue pictures look very similar, though. They look very close.
Because I forgot that they had used, a patience person. And so I was like, why is Rose McGowan on there twice? And then I was like, oh, that's supposed to be Patience as Prue. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll accept that.
But I do enjoy this whole giant clock in space kind of thing. That's a really neat visual with little red lightning on the outside. And I haven't been doing this because early on they were just kind of the same thing, but there's a little blurb in the beginning about where we left off. So let me read that just to get us back to where we started. It says, since discovering that Prue has become the nexus of the all, life has been strange for the Charmed Ones. Ben Turner's soul has been resurrected into the body of his deceased son, Cole. Paige and Henry have been having intense marital problems. Phoebe is pregnant with the child she foresaw, and Piper's quest for answers about Prue's condition has yielded no results. However, their attention is diverted from the crisis when they discover that Tyler Michaels has been possessed by an old one, the greatest source of evil in all of magic.
Ooh.
All right, so picks up exactly where we left off last time, where Prue is like aiming at Tyler. She's like, "It's Haramis," and Prue's like, "The doorway between Earth and every demon we've ever vanquished, including the one that murdered me, is standing right before us." And Piper's like, "Don't kill Tyler, bitch, no!" And she's like, "This isn't Tyler, it's Haramis." And then Paige comes up to Tyler, and she's like, "Hey, it's me, Paige. Remember me?" And Prue says, "We have to get Tyler to magic school in a safe place, away from everybody, so that we can find what's infecting him and get rid of it before it's too late." And Piper's like, "And if it's too late, what are you gonna do? You're gonna kill him? Why are you such a bitch and want to kill him?" And she's like, "That's not what it is." And they was like, "Yeah, I'll get it squared away for them." And then Tyler's like, "Kyra, Ben, I don't remember all of it, but I think Zanku killed them. I'm so sorry. Oh my god, I'm crying. Goodbye. I'm gonna go in my fire portal. Okay. See ya."
Sorry.
This is what's so funny to me about the page after that is the way he falls back into the portal. Like he's like, oh, like he's back. It is so, like I couldn't figure out. I looked at that panel probably 10 times because I kept thinking like, is he fainting? Is he falling? Is he throwing himself back? Is he pulling a Jean Grey and he just can't handle it anymore? Like what is happening right now? And then Prue is just like, no. And I just, because I imagine she still got the voice in that body. And she probably does. But it is hilarious to think of her just walking around. Just being like, no, I'm not going to let you go through that portal. I just.
Yeah. No, it's great.
And so then Prue is like, oh, we lost him. And then Phoebe and Piper are confronting her. And then Prue is like, are you seriously questioning me right now? And my thing with that is like, Prue, what do you mean? Are they questioning you? Who are you supposed to be in this moment? That you would just think that you are this I can't even get the word out. Authoritarian. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. And Piper's like, Tyler is an innocent. And it's like, why are we? What is going on here? Because Piper is being sassy this entire time. Piper is clearly over it, like from the jump. And Prue is like, Tyler is the host of this unprecedented source of magic, and he just got out of here. And Piper, sassy and quick as ever, is just like, he's possessed. Like that's her only response to it. Everyone else has like a paragraph. They have this big thing, and Piper's just like, he's possessed.
See, aren't they great, Sean?
Yeah, I could just watch this for like 3 hours. Like, I just watched Oppenheimer, and I missed out. I could have watched Galen for 3 hours instead.
Somebody give me a contract deal. Call WB. Call the Warner Brothers and the Warner sister Dot. And so then Phoebe, this is what's so funny about the characterizations is Piper is just being head on. Phoebe is being kind of like, I'm going to throw shade from the sidelines. And Paige is just like, I'm just ready to go. I'm just ready to sit down. And so Phoebe's like, here's a thought. Maybe he left because you were talking about murdering him. And then Prue, after she just basically talked about taking this boy out and he dramatically flung himself into the portal, she's like, don't be ridiculous. Well, Prue, what did you think they were going to say? What do you think was going to happen? Did you think they were just going to be like, yeah, you're right. You would never hurt him. And, and then she's like, we would just put him to sleep for a while. oh, what? And then, and then Piper, this is one of my favorite parts. Piper's like, Phoebe, was that clear to you? Because I'm like, why are we dragging Phoebe into this? Piper is like, I am about to call you out on all of this. And she was about to blast Tyler into little pieces. And Prue is just, Paige is just like, okay, I'm just ready to get up out of here because I'm done. Leo's trying to mediate. I don't understand why Prue's patience, her eyes start glowing, and she's like, I need you to come with me. Kyra and Ben are alive. And then Paige is like, girl, anyway. She's like, girl, anyway, please find him. And then you have Phoebe, Piper, and I think that's Leo standing there, and they're just like in silence. Like, okay. Something's about to go down. We just need to talk about this. But let me go back for a quick panel when Prue was like, besides, I don't think our sisters trust the big scary nexus of the all to handle Tyler with care. And I imagine her saying that because they put that part in bold, and I just can hear Shannon like making fun of them and being like the big nexus of the all, and then just like dipping out. And so Paige, I don't care for this, like, I don't know if that's her organ or not, but whatever that teleportation effect is, I do not care for it.
We mentioned that this whole season, we're like, why does it look like that? It pisses me off all the time, so thank you for bringing it up. We call it blurbeline because it's like water.
Yeah. Like, they could have just drawn little orb. I was like, at first I was like, my eyesight is going because why does it look raspy? And I was like, no, that's supposed to be Paige orbing. And then she's kind of looking like, ooh. And I'm like, okay, we are doing a lot.
It looks more like when the sea hag put her in the water thing. That's what it looks more like to me. But I did want to ask you this question, so bring it up. Like, I think I know based on your storytelling of this, but how do you interpret this? Do you think Prue is trigger happy, or do you believe her when she said she just wanted to fix him?
Oh, Prue, listen, even before she got the nexus in her, Prue was a murderer. Prue would murder somebody in a heartbeat. Like, it doesn't even matter. You could be an innocent, you could be a demon, you could be the president. She doesn't care. She's going to take you out. So now with the nexus, I'm pretty sure she was going to take this boy out. Like, there is no question in my mind. And I feel like Piper, especially this incarnation of Piper, was like, girl, we know what you are willing to do. So you can do a lot of things, but be for real. Let being for real be on the list of things that you're going to do today.
My favorite thing about this podcast so far today is when Kevin asked you, Galen, are you going to do the voices for? She's like, oh gosh, no. Oh, I just can't. And then literally the first chance you get, voices just spew out of you. Like, you didn't even try to hide it.
It's part of me. It's like I was consciously trying not to, and then as soon as I started talking about it, I was just like, whatever. I was like, here we go. It just, when I think about them, because they just have such distinct voices in my head now, I can't talk about those characters and not have the voice come out at some point. So
okay.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I just couldn't. Hey guys, it's me, Prue.
I told you, it's like a very specific version of Christian Bale as Batman, like standing up there and then like running out of the room and being like, I am the knight. And like, for some reason, that's what I imagine Prue in my head, and I don't know why.
Yeah. Why are you trying to kill me? Where is she?
I'm not like you. I'm nothing like you, Joker. I'm better than you. I help people.
Poor Shannon Doherty.
Like, if Shannon ever hears this and like she sees my face or she hears my voice, she's gonna be like, I remember you. And I'm just gonna pass out. I'm just gonna pass out. I'm not even gonna try to like walk away. I'm just gonna fall on the floor. I'm gonna fall like Tyler and just throw myself back.
I do want to point out that I do think this whole Prue situation was written purposefully to be divisive, because the sisters are questioning while the audience is questioning. To me, I didn't think of it as malicious. I thought she was more on guard to be on the threat, but at the same time, she has that ability to snap, so you never really know.
Oh, you know, and I joke about Prue being a murderer all the time, but it's
But
like
it's true. It's true.
it is true. Like the Dream Sorcerer, I would say Sam, although that one wasn't like a murder, but Sam, she took out Dr. Williamson, she killed Piper. I mean, like you give us a character, and Prue has done some sort of violence towards him at some point.
Next up, we have Kareem laying in bed on, it looks like his pink cell phone. I love it, Kareem.
It's so cute.
And he's like, I'm trying to keep it together, but I'm kind of starting to get scared. Adol, he just found out he's an art guy, and he doesn't really even know what that means. What if he walked through one of those circles of fire, or fell dramatically backwards through one of those circles of fire and ended up somewhere? I don't know. Horrible. And then Adol's like, he can handle himself. I mean, he went to the freaking wasteland. That's super hardcore. And then Kareem's like, too hardcore. And then suddenly, bing bong.
Like, that's the weirdest doorbell ever. Why does it do that?
I know. You should get that checked out.
Like it's gonna just come up as like Drag Race UK, bing bing bong.
Oh no. Now the song's going to be in my head for the next 3 months. So then Kareem's like, oh my god, the doorbell just rang. And then Adol is like, you think that's him? And he's like, I gotta go. And then Adol's like, okay, just text me and let me know if, click, And then we see Kareem's parents come out of the room, and the mom's like, did I hear the doorbell? And then Kareem's like, I've got it, Mom. And Dad's like, a little late for company. And then Kareem opens the door, and it's Tyler looking all sad.
Distraught.
It is hilarious that the parents come to the door. They stop, a hard stop, and they're just like, "But I hit the doorbell. Well, what do you think you heard?
Yeah.
What do you think you heard? What else could it have sounded like?"
Well, if that were my doorbell, I'd be confused too, because why is it saying bing bong?
I'd be like, is Bimini Bumble last year? What are we doing? Is this the reunion? Are we filming the reunion?
So the next page, you know, my heart here. Tyler immediately embraces Kareem. He's like, you're okay. I was so... And then he just stops. He's like, you're okay. And it's so nice. After all this time apart, after all this time of worrying, they're embracing. And then the parents come. Oh, God. And the mom's like, Kareem, who's there? And then we see Tyler turn into like this reptile-y lizard demon with horns. And he goes, and he starts choking Kareem. And then the house is glowing red burger from the outside.
I love that Dad is in a robe and Mom is like getting ready to go to Sears. She is fully dressed. It is like 11:47 at night, and she is fully dressed, ready to go to Sears, ready for Black Friday. She said, "I got to be able to go at a moment's notice."
Yeah,
she was getting ready to sneak out to the club. She got caught.
When she was saying it was at the doorbell, she was trying to see if that was her ride.
Do you recognize this demon that he turns into?
Well, I kept looking, and I can't.
Isn't that Leah Michelle?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's actually a trick question. I don't recognize this demon at all. I think this is a brand new... Yeah, I was getting you. So this demon never appeared in the series. But it could have happened between episodes. You know, it could have been somebody they've unleashed before. Jay Wong asked me if I thought this was the one that Phoebe mentioned in Chick Flick about, you know, the one with the horn out of the forehead. And I said no because it has two horns and it's on the sides, not in the middle. But still interesting to think about it.
This is completely an aside, but I've always wanted to know more about when they were in the future, and Piper's like, it was behind the whatever spell to do something, but before the demon with the tusks. And I was like, what demon are you fighting that has tusks? Like,
I know.
What do we have going on here? But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we've never seen that are mentioned. It's like,
So later, We have a Cole's daddy in his body, and he's standing outside smoking a cigarette. Very 1920s, like, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and get me a smoke. And Prue,
See?
he's like, long as you got a finger, you can dance. But so Prue, Prue is in the attic hovering as she does. And Piper and Phoebe are downstairs. Like, first off, Phoebe is dressed as matronly as humanly possible. And Piper walks in looking like she is completely over it. And Phoebe's like, she's been meditating ever since they got back. She said she'll be back down in an hour. Maybe she'll be able to actually find him. Not like we were any help in that department. Coffee? And then like she says all of that and she's just like, coffee? And Piper's like, no, it's not just me, right? Prue looked like she was about to put the whammy on Tyler. Like, in what universe would Piper Leanne
Say whammy.
Say the whammy? She's like, he's gonna put a whammy on. Like, what? And Phoebe's like, with her hair up in her bun, she's like, I thought the same thing. But heat of the moment, she was probably just going to knock him out. I'm sure of it. And Piper's like, probably. We haven't seen him much until recently. One of the power has been, yes. I just think the all is too much for one person to handle. We need to do the spell as soon as possible for everyone's sake. And then, for some reason, and I don't understand why, that makes Phoebe giggle. And Piper's kind of looking over at her like, we really are just a stupid bunch. And then she's just like, I kind of want that coffee now. That was the weirdest moment. Like, of everything that happened in that page, I was like, the way Phoebe even looked like, And then why she giggles, I don't know. And Piper's just like, okay, give me some coffee. A scene, a cinematic masterpiece, illustrated on page, if I've ever seen it. There
you go. I do have a theory. I think what happened here is Phoebe used a spell to bring back Piper's old nose. Because if you look at this profile of Piper right here, that's not Piper's nose at all. So she's giggling.
It's not.
She's like, I gotta play a prank on you, Piper. Let's see if you notice.
You want to be nosy, bitch?
This was where I kind of felt a weird disconnect, because this was one of the parts where I kind of felt like the dialogue was maybe just a little clunky because it didn't flow naturally, and it kind of felt like they wanted them to say this, and so it kind of didn't. And I know, a person is not going to stay the same, especially a fictional character. They're going to change, but it just was. I feel like I kind of can't get a beat on what. I don't know. I don't feel right saying that, because clearly they want Piper to be apprehensive, and clearly Phoebe is kind of like on Prue's side, but the way it comes off is like Phoebe doesn't understand at all why Piper is reluctant in any shape, form, or fashion, or why she's, and it's the two of them have always been kind of in sync a little bit. Like, they've always been kind of, even when they didn't agree on something, they could always kind of like bounce off of each other. But this just sort of seemed like Phoebe was like, yeah, I thought that at first, but so I don't know. Yeah. That was just my little observation.
Okay. Yeah, keep that in mind for when we get to canonical. This page also has two segments in here. We got two. So first, let me do the "you look familiar" moment.
It's funny, she's so familiar to me, though. Reminds me of this old stray that used to hang outside my loft.
Familiars, that's what I'm looking for.
Have we met before? You look familiar.
This image of Prue floating looks near identical to Phoebe in Love's a Witch when she's hovering, doing her meditating in the air.
When Piper's vacuuming.
Yep. So I'm going to put a side by side of this picture and the screen cap of that episode together. You'll see that same pose and everything.
We're just missing the pillow.
The pillow. Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like that scene in Forever Charmed when they go up against Billy and Christy, and she doesn't actually say this, but when they like meet each other, and Phoebe's like, "You don't have any potions," and for some reason, Christy, in my mind, she goes, "We don't need any stinking potions," but she doesn't actually say the word stinking. She just says, "We don't need any potions."
Right.
But I like clearly remember her being like, "We don't need any stinking potions."
That's just your cunt face. That's what it is. That's what is it, you cunt face? Okay. Anyway, the next segment we have for the section, Same Prue Moment, is our power play.
Power play.
So today's power play is sensing. And sensing, sometimes known as tracking, is the ability to determine the location and status of other beings by concentrating on them. It is a neutral and supportive power. White letters and cupids have the ability to locate their charges and loved ones anywhere in the world. White letters share a special connection with their charges, allowing them to hear a charge's inner call whenever the charge is in immediate danger. And then charges can also call out their name and be heard. However, white letters can also put their charge on mute, as we see with Chris in I Dream of Phoebe. But there are other types of sensing that include a connection by blood-to-blood relation. There's power sensing, strong magic, evil sensing, etc., etc. Really, any kind of telepathic observation and reconnaissance could be put under the category of sensing. So it's pretty widespread.
Well, and that leads us to the next page, which I am very honored to do this next page, because this leads us into our next segment, Important Exposition Page. Important Exposition Page!
Beautiful.
So speaking of Paige, we have Henry talking to Paige. She says, "Henry, think. Is there anything that happened in the wasteland that would make this make sense? Did he get cut or something?" Talking about Tyler. And Henry's like, "Oh, gee, Paige, I don't know what to tell ya. I was there too, and I haven't been channeling any demons." And then we see, is this supposed to be Henry in the blue shirt?
Yes.
That's terrible. They really need to lock down this Henry.
I know.
He looks like a character from Daria.
Yeah, you're right. He says, "No, actually, he did get hit by some kind of gunk from a geyser, green cum, if you will." And then he says,
"We talked about it on that episode when it happened. The wasteland just jizzed all over him." Yeah.
And then he says, "Coop got the soul orb, and Tyler's powers weren't working, so he started running. This stuff shot out at him, didn't burn him or anything, got him pregnant. Then he just got up and he was fine." Hey, am I on
speaker? But I love this too. They show them with the glowy eyes, and I didn't know anything about this when I asked you this question last week. I'm like, That is the moment. So I'm on it.
And I love the fact that Henry is like, nothing happened. Actually, come to think of it, he did get hit with this magical gunk. There was that. I do remember that. And I'm like, okay.
So then we see Paige say, "Sorry, Leo wanted to hear." And Leo's like, "Hey, bud." And Henry's like, "Hey, man." And Leo says, after Tyler got hit, he was able to use his powers again. And Henry's like, "Yeah, gee, I don't really know what all that means, though. Does any of this help?" And then Paige is like, "I think so." And then she says, "Are the kids okay?" Or he says, "Are the kids okay?" And she says, "Yes, of course." And he goes, "Where are they?" And Paige says, "Elise is taking care of them." And he says, "She's been doing that a lot, huh?" And she says, "She has."
It's so weird. This whole interaction is so bizarre.
But in this case, because I agree with Galen on the last one. The whole coffee with Paige or with Phoebe and Piper was odd. This one I think is supposed to be it's showing
because
they're
yeah.
Mm-hmm. You could feel the tension as they were talking.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. All of their problems have been at the forefront.
You know what else has been a long time coming? Aramis all over Tyler. And then we kind of get this awkward send off. She's like, "Are you there?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm here." And she's like, "What?" And he's like, "I don't know, Paige."
And Leo's looking at her like, "All right, I'm gonna go."
Leo's looking in the renovated manner like, "Okay, I'm
like, this is awkward. I don't want to be here."
This is fun or whatever, but I'm gonna go find a wood chipper to put my arm in.
Yeah. And so the next page, it says, "I don't know." From last week, he's still saying, "I don't know." And Leo goes out to the yard, the outside, to see Benjamin. He's like, "Hey, Ben, beer? Question mark. I drink sometimes." Sometimes I don't, sometimes I do. It depends on what day you catch me. And he's like, and Ben's like, "Yeah, buddy, I want that beer. How about a case? How about some more?" And they drink in they're like shadows drinking in the darkness. Ooh. And Leo's like, "How are you holding up?" Ben says, "I'm okay, but the situation is a little different now." He's like, and Leo's like, "What's different?" He's like, "I got ghosts in my head. Get out of my head." He's like, "I still have memories of my memories of my past, but I also have Cole's memories of my boy, and they're keeping me up at night." He's like, "Oh, and don't go blabbing this to anybody because it's our little secret. We're guys, you know, we got beer, we're bonding. But, you know, I have to tell you this. I'm also having feelings for what he felt for Phoebe, which is so stupid. I hate it, but I love her." And then, and then Kyra comes in and she hears this. She's like, "My heart is so broken." Because, you know, I told you that she might have crushed on him. And now she's like, "Oh, he loves Phoebe, not me." And so, yeah. That's where we're at.
She's just upset because she loves Phoebe.
Yeah, see? She loves Phoebe too.
And I told you, Ben has this speakeasy sound in tone in his voice for some reason in my head. So in my head it's like, "Don't go blabbing anybody, but that Phoebe is a swell gal." That's how I imagined it.
Very
in
nice,
my mind.
yes.
That's what he said.
My boy.
I feel like Ben's dialogue has kind of shifted here because he's saying "my boy."
Yeah.
You know, he didn't used to say that as much. He comes off as kind of country or 20s to me. You're right.
You cut off from being saying, "I guess love like that, just don't disappear." And then you get Patience's well-oiled feet, and they're just standing there, and her toes are kind of coming together, and it's like, "I can hear y'all talking about me." And Paige is like, "Good, you're done. I just got off the phone with Henry," and Prue immediately cuts it off. She's like, "It's okay, Paige. I heard everything. Aramis felt the presence of an archive. It sprayed Tyler with its blood, infecting him." She's like, "Girl, you are not telling me anything that I do not already know." And then Cordelia Chase says, "Mystical eavesdropping gets creepier, Prue." And Prue's just like, "Sorry, trying to keep a lid on it here. Trust me." And I'm like, "Okay." And then I had to lose myself in the magic for a moment so I could find him, feel his power while I was doing it. I heard everything. I was every witch in the world, every demon too. I wasn't trying to be intrusive. And Piper's like, "Intern came around," and he was like, and Prue says, "I can make it, okay? I'll find Tyler. I think I can sever the connection without harming him. I can at least make Aramis dormant in his consciousness until we figure out a more permanent solution." And in my mind, permanent solution means listen, we're going to give it a shot. If it doesn't work, stab. And so Phoebe is just like, "No, we're doing this together. Let's finish the transference of the all and then go." And she's like, We can finish the spell when I'm back. Hermes is masking his power, making him show up multiple places at once. I can go to each one in an instant. See if he's really. And then Piper's like, lying ham. We're coming. You've spent enough time alone. And Prue is so touched, and she's just like, okay. It's just like such a somber end to such an intense conversation. It's like, okay.
Yeah, beautiful. I do love that though, because last time when they were all together and she's like, I can do this alone. I can, this time she concedes and she's like, yeah, I really would love the support of my sister. So it is a really nice moment, but
I get so excited, Galen, whenever there's a bolded word. I'm like, oh my God, he's going to read it. How is he going to read it this time? I just get so excited.
Because you got to put emphasis on it. Like when you see it bolded.
They're bolded for a reason.
Yeah, they put it in bold for a reason. But I feel like they'll bold a really weird word. So it's like, I'm going to go drink some coffee. Okay. Well, kids, you're having Folgers. Simmer down.
Yeah. There's no red words in here, though. I'm waiting for the love.
Oh, yeah, I missed the red words.
Red words.
Next page, we have Prue going, Leo, please take Ben and Kyra to Magic School. I just sound like that character from The Simpsons. Marge's
the sisters.
Yeah.
Patty and Selma.
Patty and Selma.
Yeah.
Too funny.
Leo, please take Ben and Kyra to Magic School. If Zenku Chicken reemerges before we can stop Aramis, he'll go after them. And Leo's like, sure. And Ben's like, you don't tell me where to go. So angry.
I go where I want to go.
I go where I want to go. But
I'm not listening to no broads. Tell me which way to go.
you don't even have rights, see?
In my day.
And then Phoebe just calmly says, it's for your own safety. And then Ben's like, yeah, let me ask you something, Prue. Why'd you put my soul into this body, huh? Power like yours, dame. Hearing everything every witch hears. You can't put me where I belong. And then Piper's like, I was actually wondering that. I figured.
Sassy Piper. She's like completely. I was actually wondering that. She's like, I didn't want to say anything, but that is kind of weird.
Yeah. And then Prue's just kind of like looking uncomfortable. She's like, I told you your body has been dead for years. Coles, well, he had supernatural power. He was stronger, I thought. And Paige is like, sorry to be that girl, but maybe let's save the world and then work out our issues, okay? Jeez. So then they kind of like blurble out. And Ben's like, you're out of your mind if you think I'm going with you. I've had enough of this bullshit. And then Kyra and Ben go out front, and Ben starts smoking again. He's like, what the fuck do you want from me? And she's like, that D, but I can see you're busy throwing a tantrum. I was going to ask if you wanted to meet back up with the Encantadas and finish what we started. But I'll just come back another time since you're being a bitch. And he's like, wait, you're serious? And she's like, you betcha. And he's like, hell, lady, maybe I was wrong about you. Can I ask you something before you start on this page?
Yes.
When did Adol get stung in the face by a bunch of bees? When did that happen? What am I missing?
I know. I don't know. He has been very depressed lately. It's just, he's like red and like swollen. I don't know. But yeah, we have Adol, and he's outside of the car. He's talking to Cream on the phone. He's like, all right, Cream, last voicemail. Maybe I'm being paranoid. He's like, I hope you're with Tyler because I want to imagine you're having sex and stuff and having a great time. But whatever, you have some sweet romantic times, He's like, whoa, speaking of bad signs, whoa, red everywhere. And he's like, please let this be the last time. And he pulls up The smell. It says, "Reveal your true self." Cat version. Put it into my phone for later. And he says the spell, and he casts it, and he turns into the black cats again. He's flying around. Ooh, I'm a smoky cat. Ooh, meow, meow, meow. And then he flies into onto the outside the window of the house. He's like, "Holy crap!
Snarf, snarf.
Yeah.
All I could think about when I saw this panel was like Steven Universe with the cat finger. This was hilarious. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, and so I get, okay. So the next panel, the next page is just Tuatha standing gap-legged above these African Americans laid out on the floor. And she, for some reason, has her snake and titties pushed up as usual. And she's like, ah, so good to be back. And the cat's back there like, oh, meow. Like, he's like, what's happening in there? Oh, my goodness. And then, like, I love that, like, the guy is, like, he's kind of laid out like you would expect. Mom's kind of laid out like you would expect. But Dad is just like, whoa! And, like, you can tell, like, he's got one arm like this and the other one like he fell out as extra as possible. Like, I'm starting to wonder if maybe he's Tyler's dad, too. Because the way he just... like, he
the drama
himself to the floor. The drama. He is the drama. And mind you, he's in a room with Tuatha, who again is standing gap-legged with her corset. I mean, tied tight. We can't even hear her gasp because it is tied so tight. It is just, she said, it is good to be back. Her hair is a little frizzy, but it's moist. It is laid. She is done for the gods. The higher the hair, the closer to God. And just, I love it. So simple, but so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like you're excited Tuatha's back.
I love me some Tuatha.
Yes.
Oh no, I get the singing page. You know I can't sing.
Aaron provided this. I can just play his clip right now. He did the whole page.
Oh, really?
You want me to just play it for you?
Sure.
Thanks so much for agreeing to see us. What with the whole almost getting smushed by an ancient evil last time. I'll say this about you, Kyra. You're not boring. I tried boring on for a while, didn't vibe. Your man is cute, by the way. Oh, please, he's not my man. Wow, then you must really like him to be going through this twice in a day. Hardly. Oh, God. Oh, God, I can't breathe. It's okay. You're going to be just fine.
Yay! Thank you, Aaron, for doing that so I don't have to try to sing.
I would have done it if I had known.
Right. So, yeah. So, pretty much tell us what happened there, Sean.
So, this is what plays out with Ben and Kyra are back with the Encantadas, and they both lay on the ground and they have the glowy belly handprint on them, and they're basically going back to the past again.
Yeah.
Well, Kyra, because Ben's feeling uncomfortable, she holds his hand.
Yeah. So sweet.
His hand.
All right. So, the next page, we see them holding the hands. They got the Roswell handprints on their stomachs, and you hear the music among them, like na 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 na. And they arrive the moment or the right before Cole was killed that night at the graveyard. And Ben's like, "Oh, where is he? Oh." And then Kyra says, "This is it. We're here. Remember, no one's going to be able to see or hear you as long as you don't smear the handprint, okay? Don't smear the handprint. It's don't." And then he's like, "My boy!" And we see that he's looking at the scene of what happened, but Cole is like a blurry blurry mess blob person. And Kyra's like, I'm sorry, Ben. I told you you wouldn't be able to see him. He's like, no, but I feel him. I feel it. Oh!
And so the next page. Go. I don't know what to say to you. Came all this way and didn't even think of anything worthwhile to say. Thank you for saving me. After all this time, all you've been through, you came for me. When you were a baby, I thought a lot about what it would be like when you were grown. You know, we'd go down to the pub and get us a sarsaparilla. I mean, don't get me wrong. I loved holding you in my arms, feeding you, reading you bedtime stories about men that are... I can't do it. But I couldn't wait to talk to you, buddy. To get to know who you'd be. Figured if you turned out good, at least did something right in this world. Huh? Like, for some reason he says huh at the end. He's like, at least did something right in this world, huh? God. I'm so sorry. I couldn't save you. He's wiping a tear from his eye. He can't believe it because he's a man. He expected from that dizzy broad over there. God, I had to say this, but we have to go. Take my hand. And he's like, I'm so sorry, you dizzy broad. And she's like, nah. As he goes flying towards Cole.
So what happened to him right there?
That I was curious about that too. I think he let go of Kyra's hand, or no, he just like kind of like refused her hand, and it's like almost like kind of being sucked into Cole's place in a sense.
I felt like he was merging with Cole, like merging, whatever that means.
Yeah, I do love this whole top monologue here because we see Ben grieve for the life he never had with his son, and it moves him to tears. It's a really nice moment. I mean, we're having lots of fun on this podcast, but it is a really beautiful moment. So I just wanted to point that out.
Sorry, Pat Shan, that we're ruining your writing.
I deeply apologize. It's mostly me.
So on the next page, we see Tuatha has tied up Tyler with snakes. Interesting. Ooh, and she's like, I can hear power coursing through your veins. Such an interesting ability you have, and such a young witch you are. You should know I've killed younger, far younger. Do you know who I am? And he's like, yes, you're Tuatha. She's like, good. History hasn't forgotten me. A small consolation for spending years entombed in a hell designed for the lowest of demon scum. The greatest witch to ever walk on this pitiful rock deserves better, don't you think? And he's like, I, and she's like, shh, no need to offer answers. It was rhetorical, bitch. I already have the answers. The universe has a certain continuity to it. You see, I ear-ned my glory and was robbed of it, so it's only right that it's once again fallen into my hands. The body that brought me here, Tyler Michaels? It's different, special. You know who I am, so you know what I do. And she's like doing a magical spell in front of Kareem, and Kareem's looking worried.
Tuatha's like, tell me, or your father dies, and then your mother, and then you, my wand, and then, and you see, the parents are like wrapped in giant snakes, like her snakes grew, and there's two of them, and we do know that if you cut them, they split anyway, so I'm sure she can make more than one. I believe on set they called the snake Frank, if I remember correctly.
Ew, did they?
Yeah, snake. And Bridget Brana on House of Hallowell says, like, we called him Frank. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then Leo opens the door. He's like, Adel? And he's like, oh man. And he's like, Leo says, slow down for a second. What's going on? And he walks in, he gets on the couch. He's like, oh my head. I can't tell it. Oh my God. And And then Leo goes on the phone. He's like, "Come on, Piper, answer." And then she's like, "Leo,
Wow.
Leo." And they're in the hospital. And Paige says, "Looks like this is going nowhere." And yeah, they just know what to do. They're there like, "What the hell are we doing here? Like nothing. We're useless over here. I don't get it." And then we see Tuatha like shoot fire from her hands, and Cream's like, "No!"
Tell me the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Right.
Oh, goodness. And so, next page, we have Tuatha. And she's threatening his parents again. And the snake is going, "Ask." He's speaking parcel tongue.
Yeah.
And then Tuatha is like, "The next time I point at your father, his head will shatter into pieces so small you couldn't distinguish bone from flesh. You have a single chance to answer me. What is Tyler?" And then we go to Cordelia Chase and Cole, and he's like, "Whoa!" And she's like, "Don, take my hand because this is 50 Shades of not good." and then it's like, "Did you see that? I'm living it. The blur is gone." And then we skip back to Tuatha and the young man, Kareem. His name is Kareem.
Yeah.
Okay. And she's like, "Answer me."
That's very good, Tuatha. She does get those constipated aggressions, you know.
She does. And so then we go back to Cordelia Chase and Cole, or Ben, and she's like, "Bon, your memories are forcing me into close place. If you don't take my home, this is gonna get bad, and not just for you. You're messing with time." And then we go back to Kareem and to Woo Woo, and he's like, "He's an archive. Tyler's an archive." And then we go back to Cordelia Chase and Ben. He's like, "No, see, this is why I wanted to go back here. I can go through the motions. I can fix this. This is why Prue put me in his body. I know it. If I die in Cole's place, my boy will take mine. Or maybe the Cupid, if I let him die. Bon, there is no 7 kill. I know you want to believe there is, but there is not. He is gone, you stupid idiot."
And then back at Kareem's house, we see Krakoom, and lightning like hits the ground. And then we go back to the graveyard where Ben is looking at the sisters trying to stop the zombies. And it's like, "He loved her so much, see? And she loves someone else now." And then we go back to Woo Woo, and she's like, yeah, I feel it. The fabric of reality is in my hands." And then we see the 4 sisters running towards Karimi's house, and they're like, "Remember, non-lethal is the plan. No one is killing Tyler. We've established that. I doubt we could, with Aramis steering the wheel." And then we have Cordelia Chase going, "Bon, please." And then we have Ben going, "I have to do it, Brad. I'm sorry." And then we have Woo going, "Oh, what I can do with this power."
She is fierce as hell in that picture, though. I love it.
Yes.
And I love how goofy she looks in the one where she's got her hands up. She's like, "Ooh."
She's almost clown-like in that picture. The top one.
Yeah.
She's Trixie Mattel. Yeah.
Yeah, she's giving very Tracy Martell right there. She is giving very Tracy Martell, like, but as RuPaul, winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah. I'm going to text him and tell him that I talk about him on this episode. So that's fine.
I wish I could text someone famous, but I can't.
Text me.
Well, there you go. Okay, well, there you go. Problem solved.
No, right? No, I'm not famous. It's fine. Anyway, next page, we see Kyra go, Benjamin, no! And then Tuatha's like, or Tuwu now, I guess she's called. Fire of Archives. And then Benjamin in Cole's place getting stabbed by the ancient Athame. He's like, oh.
Yeah,
oh.
I love it. He's like, oh, like I wasn't expecting this. What's happening here?
Oh. And and Kyra's like, oh my god! And like, we see the four sisters. Ooh, part deux. They like stand outside the doorway, and the door like flies out into the like boom. We're here, bitches. Love us. We're the power of four sisters. We see Benjamin / Cole's body get all veiny and crackly. He's like, this one's for you, son.
This one's for you, Morph.
Yes, exactly.
That was intense. So in the shattered pictures, we have the four sisters, and they're all separate, and they're in their own shard of glass. You have Tuatha, and her shard is, in shards. And then you got a bunch of other stuff, like other scenes, and Prue is Dr. Manhattan in one of the shards, and someone's looking at a picture. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on. Someone's got the black eyes. Someone is the source. There's somebody's little baby being born. Then we got Benjamin and Cordelia Chase laying out. Then Cole about to kill Phoebe when he absolutely should have in Power Outage. There's a lot of other stuff.
There's a lot going on. A weird zoom in on the beer for some reason.
Yeah.
They're like, that beer was important to the story. Did you write it down? And then you get to see a little flash, a little snapshot of Cole's mother killing Ben. And there's some other stuff, but I don't recognize it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's from the comics and stuff, so.
And then on the last page, this is the hardest one to describe. We see the handprint on Ben's stomach, but it's just that handprint. I'm assuming on Ben's. It could be Cordelia Chase's, but it just slowly fades to nothing. And that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, the end. So, what did we think of this issue?
It was great. I loved it. There was action. There was drama. There was reading going on. There was shade being thrown. There was weird orbing. Like Paige was on her iPhone 3GS and had it on speakerphone, and her and Henry were going back and forth. I loved him. And of all this, okay, so let me say this. I feel like I could see Paige having marital issues. I don't know what got them to this point, but I feel like Paige will be the one that would have marital issues of everybody, just because she's so, I don't want to say because she's independent like it's a bad thing, but I feel like Paige is the one that after a while is going to be like, okay, I need my space and you need to chill out. So I could see that being an issue for her at some point in, like, not just a committed relationship, but a marriage.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sean?
I really like this one. I thought it's like really cool setup. I'm just bewildered at where the hell is this going now that we're bringing time into it.
Crazy. Yeah, for me, this issue gave like a real sense of danger with some wonderful emotional beats. It's a great continuation of where we left off. I love that Tuatha's beauty and badassery can be witnessed here without being bogged down by the awfully frustrating, pitiful Kyle, who is quite possibly the worst character Charmed has ever put on screen. So
like, when I hate him specifically for when when Tuatha's like, my wand, and then he's like, I wish for the wand, and he's doing all of that, and I'm like, calm down, you just got here. Like, you don't need to be busting your veins in your head trying to get the wand. Calm down. Just simmer down.
Simmer. Okay, so do we have anything before I put that in my canonical hat?
Canonical.
Tuatha.
Tuatha's back. I know Galen did not like that Piper said whammy.
I did not. I did not like that she said whammy. That was very strange.
Yeah, that's all. I mean, that's all I really have. Not too much for this one. Next is tips for future white lighters. So
Oh, we're really just messengers? Guides? Think of us as guardian angels for good witches.
Tips for future white lighters.
I was out being a force of good in the universe.
What is the moral of the story?
Always oil your feet because you never know when you're gonna come floating into a room.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I took from it. The moral of the story. I think one of the bigger takeaways from this one was just it's okay to ask for help. And I think that kind of goes back to Prue's character, even like seasons 1 through 3, is she always felt like she had to do stuff by herself. Even when she had them, she kind of felt like she had to do it. And so it's interesting to see that now, even in another body, especially with all this power, she still has taken it upon herself that she has to do it because she has the power in her. And her sisters are like, no, we can do this together.
Yeah.
I would say from Ben's perspective, what really resonated with me is not dwelling on your past, like letting your mistakes go. Like, especially for him, just because Cole didn't live the life he wanted, Cole still was good in the end. So the fact that he's so obsessed with Cole and fixing Cole, like, you just got to let that go and move forward. Right. You can't just fixate on the past.
You need to understand that Cole made this decision in good spirits, in good faith, knowing that he was okay, knowing that he was leaving the world in a better place than he started it out as. So, yeah, you need to just be grateful for what you have because it was Cole's giant wish. Don't take that away from him. Mm-hmm. My tip is, even though it can be embarrassing or painful, don't run away from the people who could help you. Tyler, dramatically.
Just
let me just fall backwards in this portal.
When all else fails, just faint. Just create a portal and just faint to nowhere.
Yeah. All right. Next is onomatopoeia. So, what's your favorite sound word? I picked Hux, the snake, because I don't know. It was very dramatic and very it's like almost like a bite.
Well, then in that case, I'm going with Bing Bong.
Bing Bong, yeah.
I'm going with Bing Bong because, hey, if a doorbell can sound like that, then there's got to be something else that makes that noise.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've used that one before, but Bing Bong is mine too because I think we got it for like a cell phone and for the doorbell now, and it's just so random. Like things don't make that sound.
It's like maybe they set their doorbells and phones to circus mode, you know. All right, what is the most valuable panel? This one was hard. I picked the Shattered double spread because I figure that just says everything. What's going on? Where are we? What are the worlds? I don't know.
That's mine.
Yeah,
for the same reason.
I think the most important panel out of what we already talked about as being like the moral of the story is between. I'm gonna say Prue saying, "Okay." Because it just felt like with everything that happened, it's just her accepting it, not fighting it anymore, not trying to run, like you said, run from it, not trying to dismiss them, not trying to push them away, just being like,
together. Yeah, I do like that a lot. It's really powerful. All right, sexiest drawing.
Tuatha. Listen, there's no Tuatha and then Kareem's mama. Fully dressed to go to JCPenney. So it's of those two, I'm gonna say they're tied, but no, Tuatha. Like when she first comes back and she's gap legging and she's like, "Oh yeah, I don't have any panties on and I don't need them because I'm from the 16th century." Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually thought I chose that one, but I didn't. I chose a different one because I stand out above the crowd. I chose when Kyra and Ben are lying with the handprint on their stomach, and when Kyra's looking at Ben like, "I want to ride you." Like, I don't know. It's just such a loving, like, little sweet scene, and they She seems so sexualized right there. Like, she's horny.
Yeah. See, and it really is between those two moments for me. But because I kind of chose the handprint one last time, I'm going to go with the Tuatha one this time. But both of them are like the tops. But yeah, Tuatha there with her chesticles out, her boobages, the snake, her look like that. I'm going to go with that one just because it's new and exciting.
I do think unconscious Kareem in the picture of Tuatha is very cute, but then I'm also way too old to think Kareem is cute.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to admit to that on a podcast.
And then there's the unconscious part. That's,
That's even worse, right?
I was like, oh.
All right, so now we're at issue ranking. Is this magically delicious, pretty witchin', a sorcerer's apprentice, disenchanting, or vanquishable?
I'm going to say pretty witchin', and I think it's because it was really good to me. It's also like, I've said this before about other ones, but like a transitory story. Like, we haven't gotten to that big punch yet, but we're definitely like on a really cool journey to get there.
Yeah, I said pretty witchin' as well for that reason, because this is really great, but it did feel very transitory. It felt like kind of like a middle sequel in like a 3 in a trilogy, because it was progressing the story very well. It was still great, but it was just missing that extra oomph to make it epic.
Is it bad? Then I'm going to say it's magically delicious because the reason, okay, so I have a couple of reasons. Number one, I feel like there was magic being used in almost every single panel. And I don't know why I didn't expect that, but I guess I should have. Like, there was either magic, reference to magic, or they were inside of magic. And with something like Charmed, that's kind of what you want to see. Like, you want to see the magic. But also because I don't know what I expected from the comics, but this exceeded that. Like, I love the fact that there's callbacks to, characters from the show. I love the fact that some of the characters are consistent. Like, I feel like Paige is written consistently. I feel like Prue is written consistently. It's just Piper and Phoebe are so... I feel like Piper is to a certain extent, but then they kind of make her say stuff like whammy, and I'm like, okay. And then Phoebe is being a weird peacekeeper that, I guess that makes sense in the dynamic of where they are now because, Piper's been the oldest for years. Phoebe's been in the middle. So it kind of makes sense why, I guess, there's this weird dynamic because it's like with Prue and Paige there, it's kind of like, where do I stand? Because Piper always kind of took that back seat to Prue. And so she then got used to not having to take a back seat to anyone. So now it's like Prue is here and she's trying to assert her dominance, but Piper's like, okay, that might not be the best course of action. So that's why I give it a magically delicious, because I just feel like it does a good job of creating conflict in, like, not creating, but showing you the conflict that's going on in the circle as opposed to just in the whole story. So yeah, we got everything happening, everyone fighting, but then like within them, they're going to have to rein it in if they really want to, fight the good fight. So,
yeah. Especially if this is like your first real deep dive into the comics, of course you're going to be really excited by stuff that's good. It's all good stuff. So I get it. So now we have our PS4 poll question for next week.
Prue? Piper. You mean it's just you and Prue, huh?
Phoebe? Phoebe, you there?
And a big hello to you too, Penny.
Come on, Patty. The rest is up to them.
Paige. My name is Paige. Another P, imagine that.
P is for poll. And my question is, who is the most annoying character from Charmed? And I have 4 options. You have to choose between these 4. I have Jenny Gordon, Kyle, and this is Kyle Gwydion from that old Black Magic. Not Kyle Brody, but Kyle Gwydion. What a weird name. We have Odin the Elder, and then Christy Jenkins.
Jesus.
I know. All despicable, all people that I despise greatly.
Dear God in heaven. Okay.
I'm going to go with Jenny because Christy was my second pick because Christy's fucking annoying also, but she's at least annoying with a purpose. Jenny was just annoying and had no room in the story. Like, she didn't add anything to the story whatsoever.
So I am going to say Christy over Jenny because Jenny was annoying, useless, but she was a child character, and so like I can put in my head that they didn't really have a place for her, especially because like Phoebe was so young and she was the youngest. That's why I'm bringing her up specifically. Like, Phoebe's the youngest, she's still kind of childish, and so like everyone was kind of in that adulthood phase, but they were still figuring it out, and so I can kind of understand why there wasn't room for somebody like Jenny in the story. Christy came at a time where everyone was secure in their witchhood and they were fully grown adults. Piper had children. Phoebe was going to sperm banks. Paige was trying to get married to men she just met. And Christy comes in with her thin hair and her cave woman tendencies, trying to eat grubs out of... I hate the character of Christy. I hate her. Like, at least Jenny had a reason to be whining because she was a hormonal teenager whose body was changing, and she's not going to apologize for it. But Christy is someone who, yes, she grew up in a cave and she wasn't educated, and she probably learned how to speak from like wild hyenas that are loose in the underworld. But she clearly was smart enough. She's clearly smart enough to follow along with the plans that the demons have, and she was choosing to manipulate her sister because she wanted to go along with the original plan, not only to stop the Charmed Ones, but she even convinced her to go after Wyatt, and she knew how much but to steal Wyatt's magic, and she knew how much Billy cared about Wyatt. So I'm gonna say her because at least Jenny, I could call like child protection and tell them to come get her. But Christy, you would have to like do what Billy did to get her like gone. She's like a rash or like she's like a big pimple that you have to freeze off, because if you don't, you can't just push it because it has like metastasized or something. It has crystallized, and now it's up on the runway. And so you have to like do something to really make sure it's gone so it doesn't come back. And Billy did what needed to be done. I've never cheered more on Charmed.
There you go. This was hard for me because I hate them all so much. But even though Christy has those really constipated faces and really cunty faces, I I still find her super sexy. I'm mad that I find her hot, but I do. I'm mad because I hate her so much.
Why did Galen just quit the podcast? He just went away when you said that.
I know.
I zoned out. Thanks for having me. It's been great. I hope
I just want. We talked about this on Hanging with the Hollows quite a bit. You can hear the whole journey I went with that. But and Odin, worst elder ever. But I'm gonna actually go with Kyle because such a waste of space. He's ugly. He's whiny. He's useless. He's self-deprecating. He's annoying. I can't handle him so much. He just bothers me so much. He's got an annoying last name, Gwydion. Like, ew. And this whole seventh son of the seventh son. How convoluted is that? Like, I don't like that. It's just too much. Like, go and take Jenny with you. And goodbye, Kyle.
Yeah, I can see that.
He's so frustrating because even when they tell him what he needs to do, he's like, no, I'm stupid. I'm like, yeah, get out of here. So I hate that guy. Anyway, Sean, tell us what's next.
Sure. So next up, issue 16, we see a picture of Phoebe, Piper, Paige, and Henry, but the picture's on fire. It's burning to death. And the comic is called The Happy Ending. That seems like it doesn't fit with our image. And it says, Prue enters into a final battle with Aramis as she and the Old One fight for Tyler's soul. The Charmed Ones must defend the world from an army of monsters descending from the skies. When all is said and done, will the four sisters finally be reunited as a family?
So we did it! I know Galen has to go real soon, so go ahead and tell us where we can find you and follow you.
You can find me just about anywhere under They Call Me Mr. G. They call me Mr. G everywhere except for Instagram, where it's They Call Me Mr. Period G. Periata. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, so much funny stuff. So definitely check him out.
Thank you.
And Sean, where can they find you?
Oh, you can find me on the marvelous galaxy of Disney. We are on a little bit of a hiatus. We're on again, off again due to the strikes. So just keep a track of our Instagram to see when we're on. And you can find my book, Witch's Brew, A Dream of Waking, on Amazon, or my travel agency, My Magical Journeys.
Yeah. You can find Sean and I on our other podcast, Subbing for X, which is currently on break as well because of the strike. But, perfect opportunity to catch up if you want to watch the X-Men animated series and listen to our thoughts on it. And you can follow this podcast at Words of the Witches, all places, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or Words of Witches on Twitter. What's it called now? X? I hate it.
It's called X.
Yeah, X.
Oh, I want to quit. It's so bad. But it's there. Sure, if you want to go there. And email wordsofwitchespod@gmail.com if you want to hear more. And be sure to tune into the live about the musical. I'm excited about that. I'm excited to talk about that project. Cool. Yes. So, see you soon, Spellworders. Your destiny still awaits. Bye!